Madison and you're watching EDTV. Today we're going to make a super simple yeasted biscuit recipe. And when I say super simple, it is super simple, very versatile. And if you're one of those people that's a little intimidated by yeast in recipes, this is going to cure your phobia. All right, let's get started with the recipe. To begin with, it helps if you have a stand mixer for mixing the whole thing, but you could make it in a bowl. We're using unbleached all-purpose flour, and again, you can use half of the whole wheat pastry flour if you like, and half of the unbleached flour, but they don't come out as fluffy, so I just want to be totally honest, they're not quite as good. Then we have some granulated sugar. You can decide on how sweet you want this biscuit, so you can look at the recipe, which is on Everyday Dish TV, and then you can decide how much you want to add. I am adding a little bit of baking soda and a little bit of baking powder. We have some fine sea salt, and we have some instant yeast. Now, instant yeast is what I like to use because it's so simple to use. You don't have to proof it in hot water. It just works. And you can find it really inexpensively too, sometimes like at restaurant or restaurant supply stores, or stores like Costco and stuff sometimes have it really cheap. So add that in there. Then we want to put the lid on the mixer and we want to give it a good mix. Okay, this looks pretty well mixed right here. Then we're going to add our liquid ingredients. So what we have is we have some plain soy milk. Don't use vanilla soy milk for this recipe unless you're going to do it as a breakfast biscuit, and then you could. And to that we're going to add some apple cider vinegar. What this does is it'll curdle the milk, and you'll wind up with a buttermilk. So we're just going to let that sit for a second. Now while this sits, I'm going to tell you how you can customize this recipe. You can make them savory with black pepper, you could add dried dill to it, you could do rosemary, you could do any kind of biscuit you like. So it's really fun to kind of play with the different flavors. Or if you didn't want to do a savory biscuit, you could do it as a sweet biscuit, and you could add sprinkle a little cinnamon sugar on the top, or you could ice them when they're cool with a little orange glaze. You could add a little orange zest to the dough. So you can have a lot of fun with these biscuits. They could be sweet or they could be savory. So that's why the sugar is, a little bit or a little bit, well, it's like goes, I think, from 2 to 4 tablespoons, depending on how you want them to taste. All right, I think this is ready. Oh, and I forgot to say that this was warm soy milk too. Not hot, just warm. So we have our curdled milk there, our buttermilk. And we have a little bit of oil. You could use canola or vegetable oil, either or. Okay, then we're gonna mix this together just until it comes together, and then maybe like another minute or so. Here we go. All right, let's check the dough. You wanna give it a good feel. Okay, this feels really nice. If it's a little too wet, you can just add a little bit more flour, and if it's a little too dry, you could add another drop of milk. Sometimes it really just depends on the time of the year or how old your flour is as far as the exact amount of liquid that you're going to need. But this feels really good. So I'm going to pull this out of here like so. Now, I'm telling you, this is pretty easy, right? You don't have to really get intimidated by it. You don't have to wait for this one to rise. It's simple. And you got this great piece of dough. Now, if you have a silicone mat, these are fabulous for patting the dough out onto or rolling it. And for this one, it's, again, easy. You could just pat it. I think you want it about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch thick. I'm going to pat it a little bit more. Actually, let me see if I have a rolling pin here. I do. Everything comes tumbling out of my cabinets. Okay, I'm just going to give it a good roll. Oh, beautiful. And you get about a dozen biscuits from this. Cool. I was thinking that they'd be good with raisins too in them. If you did like a sweet one, you could put raisins in them and then a little cinnamon sugar on the top. Endless. Okay, now I have a biscuit cutter. You could do any size you like. For this size, I get a dozen out of them. So you just keep cutting away. Okay, here's the last one. And I just patted the extra pieces together, and you can probably still get another one out of that. Just pat it like so. Cut the last one, and then I brushed them all with a little bit of soy creamer, but you could just do like a little bit of soy milk on the top. This just helps keep them nice and soft. We're gonna bake them in a preheated 400-degree oven, like 15 to 20 minutes or until they're lightly browned and they're all puffed up. Okay, I think they're ready. They smell ready. Oh yeah, wow, golden brown, see they puff up. The thicker the dough is when you cut it, the more they'll puff up. Oh, these look so good. Okay, now here is my favorite thing to do with them. Just kind of split them in half. See, I love these for breakfast, but you could also do them for like Thanksgiving or dinner or anything else. I like them spread with a little bit of the whipped earth balance and a little bit of strawberry jam. Yum. So good. Thanks so much for joining me. Really, you should go try these biscuits. They're really good, and you'll get over your yeast fears. Enjoy. See you next time. And remember, the recipe's on everydaydish.tv.